Hi everyone, it's Mark from Abilities, and today I'm going to be talking about gloves. So whether it's for your wheelchair, or it's for transferring, or something else that you might use it for, maybe to hold a utensil, or something along those means, or to stretch your fingers out for therapy. There's a lot of different options out there. So today what I want to do is kind of go through some of the gloves that I've used, some of the ones that I've picked up over time that I've tried out, some that I didn't like, and different things like that. But I wanted to go through a list. So I have 4 items that I think are important. It's kind of like a checklist. 4 things that I would go through in choosing a pair of gloves. So the first thing is going to be, how easy is it to put on? Now, depending on your level of injury, this might not be a concern for you. But for me, it's number 1 on my list. And that's because, when you buy a glove with the limited hand dexterity, you might not be able to get in this by yourself. Now, for me, I want to be able to do as much as I can on my own. For others that may have family members or a care attendant, that may not be an issue. You might have trouble getting your hand in the glove, but you may decide, well, I'm just going to put on or have someone help me, and it's not a big deal. So that's number 1 for me, is I want to be able to put it on. I'm going to go over these gloves because there's different varieties of ones that are harder and easier to put on. The second thing to me would be, does it solve the problem, or is it, the functionality of it? Does it give you what you need, the desired result? So for me, that would be being able to give me more friction against my push rim so that I can get a good push. Now, I have the power assist wheels, and I do have some really thick hand grips or push rim covers that accommodate me not having gloves. So I don't wear gloves all the time, but when I'm going long distances, I like to have something that has a real grippy surface that will allow me to push longer distances. The other thing would be, for me with gloves, it's about hygiene. So it's nice when pushing a long way that I have a glove that will, protect my hands from getting the cuts, as well as, just keep them clean, because sometimes you can get dirty if you're going over a lot of asphalt. Okay, number 3 would be skin breakdown. Now, I'm doing this video now because it's timely. I just went to the beach a few days ago and pushed, I think about 6 miles. And I had put on a pair of gloves that I bought at the Abilities Expo about a month ago. Hadn't tried these out yet, but I like the red rubber. A lot of us quads love this red rubber because it grips really well to the wheels. So I tried them out, and sure enough, I don't know if you can see right here on both parts of my wrist, I got blisters by the end of the push. I didn't even see it or notice it or feel it because I just pushed, the adrenaline was going. And one of my buddies, he pointed out, he's like, look, you got to make sure you take care of that. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that happened. So this is a hard one because you're not going to know until you try them. But just be aware, especially if you're new injury, it's going to be hard. But, be kind of aware of how your wrists function and your hand function works so that if you are going to buy a glove, look to make sure that you don't have those kind of pressure points in areas where if you're going to be doing this repetitively, that you're going to get some skin breakdown issues. So I wanted to point that out. It's an important one. It's probably hard to diagnose when buying a pair of gloves, but just keep it in mind when you do it. And just, as you're using the gloves, just check and make sure, something starts to hurt, take it off, look at it. If a blister is forming, then, you might need to try a different glove or maybe wrap it in something to give it more support, something like that. Okay, and 4th on my list is cost. I put this at the tail end because I think, a lot of these gloves, they're fairly reasonably priced. They're anywhere from, you can get them like $18 up to, some pairs are going to be like $60. But if you look at, what this might provide to you in terms of independence, whether it's you're getting a good transfer because you have a better glove or you're getting a better push, I think it's worth the money. A lot of these gloves will last for a while. And let's just say they break down. I mean, you can take this to, I call them cobblers, but a place where they fix purses and shoes. You can look that up, but they have the capability to sew through this thick stuff. Or if you have family members that do it, then that's great too. But to me, it's worth paying the money if it suits your needs. If you're getting 1 and 2 out of this, easy to put on, solves the issues that you have during your daily routine, I think it's worth it. And skin breakdown, obviously, you want to make sure that that's not a factor. But so that's my list of 4. Now, I want to kind of go through the different gloves that I've used and what I use them for. So let's kind of take a look. Okay, this first pair is from a company called Uline. And when I'm done with this video, I'm going to go ahead and post these links down below so that you can go ahead and check these out. As well as I'm going to put them on My Abilities website under resources. So that way, you can start going there to look for, different items that you can purchase, things that I try that I like. I'm going to be better about updating my website so I can put some of these things on there so you can check it out. But okay, so Uline, this is a company that makes a lot of different things, not just gloves. I think stuff for a warehouse or different, items that you need in a warehouse. These are really designed to be able to grab like giant canisters without them slipping, if there's liquid on them. I like them because it's kind of a thin diamond pattern. They're real flimsy. This is what I use when I'm rolling from the train to work. It's a full finger glove. It's not easy to get on. For me, what I'm going to do, what I typically do is, got a little bit of it in my mouth. I tend to put these on by triggering a spasm, which sounds kind of weird, but I'll get them to like right here, and then I'll trigger a spasm to flatten out my fingers. Now, I've got the fingers, more or less in there, and then what I'll do is I'll get the thumb in. Then I'll just keep pushing like this. Grab this a little bit. Still got eating some of that. Okay, so you can see that wasn't crazy hard for me to put on, but I've been doing this a long time. It took me a while to do it. Some of you higher level quads, you might have a fist or your fingers might open that much. This is not a good option for you. But I just wanted to show it to you. So if, these, I think you can get 3 pairs for $48 or something like that. I'll put the link so you can see. But, this is a good option for some of you that say, I don't know if I want a glove, but maybe I should get something. These are nice. You can they're lightweight and keep them in your bag or somewhere, maybe in your nightstand. So if you want to take them out and use them. This grippy surface is great on a transfer board too. The only thing with these is there's no wrist protection, right? You have a really thin area here, your wrist is going to break. So if that's a concern for you, which is going to be some of these other gloves I get to, then this is not the option. But this is just something that I wanted you to see that's out there. Okay. And then one of my favorite stores, Sportaid, they actually make their own gloves, a couple pairs of different gloves. I don't have the match, but just so you know, this has like some padding and it's kind of suede related. Full thumb. It's got the fingers cut out, so if you have fingers that curl, this might work better for you. I wasn't a huge fan of this glove. It kind of rubbed around on my hand. It's probably just the sizing. Maybe I needed a little bit smaller size, but wasn't a huge fan, but it is an option out there that you could try. All right, now we're getting into more like the quad cuff area. So for those of you that are quads, there's quite a few options out there which are really good. I'm going to start with a company that was called Push Ease. I don't know if they're out there anymore, but these I've been, kind of a big fan of. It's really just something that slips over. You put your thumb in, and you're going to get this really big area. Now, this happens to be too big for me. I have another pair, but I couldn't find them. For whatever reason, they're somewhere lost in my garage. But what's nice about these is you pull them like this, you pull it over, and you think, oh, they got extra material, but no, you can come back and fold it over, and it sticks on there. So this is nice. This is good for pushing. Again, depending on your hand, your fingers, your movement, you're not going to get any type of stiffness in the wrist. It will prevent you from going this way, but again, this comes down, it's going to put pressure on this part of your wrist, skin breakdown. You want to make sure that this is not going to be an issue for you. What I find is great for these, it could be good for pushing, but honestly, like if you're at a gym and you're doing a machine where you're doing, you're doing like a chest press, you can put this pad right up against it and just kind of fit that bar right in there. Gives you a little bit of padding, makes you, gives you some support. I've used it for various things, and that's one of them that I really liked. So I still have these, and I think that's where they're at, is somewhere around my gym equipment. I just can't find it, the pair that I use. So anyway, that's one other option. Now, when I went to the show about a month ago, I picked up a couple pairs of gloves from a company called Melrose, which you might know. That's our friends from New Zealand. They actually have some local people up in, I believe, Sacramento or Northern Cal. And they had a couple different varieties of gloves here. Now, these are going to be very similar to this. It's got the red rubber, which is nice. Pretty, you know, an ease of entry. It's got some nice little loops here, which make it easier for us quads to pull and tighten it. In this one, it's kind of the same idea. It's just going to be a thumb. And, you know, let me go ahead and put this on so you can kind of see how this works. This one's a little bit nicer in construction. It's got the, you know, really soft leather. And then the red rubber, as I said, which is a quad favorite. So you can see here on this is a little bit harder to pull, but it's the same idea. You're going to get this and pull it over. So yeah, now you're looking at the red rubber. Not much in terms of wrist support on the top, but very comfortable. I haven't tried them yet, but I imagine it's going to give you something similar to this. This has a little bit more cushion in it, so it feels better, like with the weights. This is harder. It might not work well with the weights that I was talking about. But nonetheless, a nice glove might work for some of you. So I'll put the Melrose website on there too, so you can see where you can buy these. Now, in addition to those gloves, I purchased these little beauties. Now this is really a small compact red rubber that's going to go over the thumb. I mean, it's kind of similar to this, but it's really focused on this part of your palm, and it doesn't hinder, you know, like your wrist or your fingers. Now, I've never had a pair of gloves like this. This was the pair that I wore to the beach. Okay, so now the way this pulls, kind of similar, but you know, it's hard. It doesn't have like, you know, something I can grab, so I gotta use my teeth. I pull it over. Now, this does not have the back around like this does. So depending on how big this strap is, you're gonna have a little bit extra material hanging off the side. Now, you can see right here, this is where this was digging into my skin. This is from doing this repetitively for 6 miles. Now, had I been using this to do transfers, maybe just to push around the mall or something where I wasn't exerting too much energy, probably fine, not an issue. But this did break my skin down, and it made me think, okay, well, I gotta be more careful. So just again, going over those items, you wanna keep that in mind as you're doing this, because once you get these kind of things, I mean, this will heal, but imagine if you're dealing with this in other places where you're putting pressure on it, or this is in an area where you use it a lot, like say your elbow, things like that. It changes your routine, so you gotta be careful about that. All right, so let's take these off. And now we're going to graduate into the final category, which is really the true quad cuff. This kind of style has been around for a while. I feel like this was one of the first ones that I was introduced to when I got out of the hospital. It's probably one of the easiest gloves to put on. There's the thumb part right there. You do have to kind of use your teeth. These are hard to pull apart at times, but I'll just show you how it opens. You take your wrist, pull like so. Okay. So with this, you're going to get, you know, a very open glove where all you're going to do is you're going to lay your hand down flat. It's a little bit hard for me to do without grabbing it, but the idea is you're putting your thumb in. Let me move these out of the way so you can kind of see. So you're putting your thumb in right here, put it in, lay this glove down, and you're going to take this part over. It's a little bit easier for me to do it this way, but I'll take this with my teeth, and I'll just, maybe not so easy. And I'll lay that over the top. Same is gonna be true for this other side. I'll lay it over the top. So this gives you this big, nice, secure bowling glove look. Now, I had a tough time with this, and just for like the reasons I just said, like I didn't think aesthetically it was as pleasing. But in terms of giving you support and push, transfers, it's a really nice option. You know, if you're early out the gate here and you're trying to figure things out, I recommend having a pair of these. You know, even if you don't want to wear them out, wear them at home and practice with them. You're going to find out what works best for you, but if you don't try it, you're not going to know. So this is a good one to start with. This is a hatch glove. I believe they sell this on Sportaid. If not, they sell it on one of those other, you know, online medical supply companies. Just, you know, you can search it, but I'm going to go ahead and give you, I'll find a link and I'll put it in my description as well as on my website. Okay, I want to show you one other version of this, which is really nice. It's an upgraded version, but just so you can get an idea of the difference in quality. So I'll take this off. Okay, it's going to open right up. These are going to be good. Again, you know, maybe you have like a brace already that you want to keep on to keep your fingers out or something. It'll go right over it. It's really nice. Over clothing, all that kind of stuff. All right. So the last glove, which I want to show you, which is another quad cuff, is this glove here. And it's made by a company called Blax, B-L-A-X. If you're familiar or if you've been around for a little while, you'll know that Blax makes push rims. They make them for everyday chairs as well as rugby chairs. They're out in Arizona. They've been making these really nice, you know, coated push rims for a long time, and they've been very successful with it. It's a really nice, grippy hand rim that a lot of people use. It also turns out that the gentleman that owns the company made a pair of really nice quad cuffs. I'm going to go ahead and open these, but you can't really see, but I don't know what this is made of, but it feels like some type of a rubber plastic material, but it's really, I mean, it bends and it's durable, but it's thick. And I beat these up a lot, and I mean, there's the stitching, everything is just in great shape. These last a long time. I want to say, I'd have to look, I haven't looked recently, but they're probably in between $50 to $70 for a pair, but totally worth it. I see a lot of people in chairs using these, especially quads, and I'll show you some of the other reasons why they'd wear them. Okay, let's go ahead and put this on. Let me do the other hand, that's why I have it up. Okay. So again, I'm gonna bite it to open it. We use our teeth a lot as quads, huh? I'm gonna get this other side. All right. Gloves open, and you know what? I totally screwed that up. I got the wrong hand, so let me go back to this other one. All right, one open. Okay. Gloves open. I'm going to go ahead and put my thumb in, just lay it in there, push it out. Okay. These are a little bit softer, so I think they're going to be easier to close than the previous hatch ones. Oh yeah, and you can see that comes over a lot farther. I mean, it's possible this glove's a little bit bigger. Well, I mean, it is a little bit bigger than a hutch, but in terms of the way it's made, maybe it's made a little bit bigger to accommodate. But it's nice that I don't have to really fight it, so I can kind of get it in position. Okay. Pull that over just a bit. Okay. Now, this baby, when you pull it in tight, it gives you really good wrist support, which I think is important, especially when you're transferring. It's got really nice, this rubbery, I don't want to say plastic, but rubbery feel to it that adheres to any push rims. I would actually argue that this probably pushes better with a non-coated push rim, so like those anodized or aluminum ones that a lot of paraplegics will roll with. This is going to stick well on a transfer board. You know, any material that you can kind of get some kind of friction against, you know, maybe like the leather in a car seat if you're trying to transfer. But I think these are really good. If you're a quad and you want to have something easy where you're not fiddling with your fingers and worrying about getting it into you know, something like this Uline where it's a little bit harder to do, I would suggest this. Now, some of the other uses besides pushing your chair and transferring, I've seen people put any number of things in this. There's a friend of mine named Richard Bell. He's a beautiful artist. He actually puts his paintbrush in these, and it's steady for him so that he can kind of do his art. It's really cool. I'm sure that you will come up with your own uses as well, but these are just some of the things that I noticed, especially with this kind of, you know, this pair of gloves. So that's all I have. These are the gloves that I've pretty much used over my time. There's probably more options out there. What I can honestly say to you is that I did not want to wear gloves early on in my injury. You may feel the same way, but I would say now in hindsight that I probably should have been a little bit more open-minded, and if you have the opportunity to try something new, I would say do it. You don't know what you're missing out on until you actually try it. I think that there's a lot of great products out there, especially for the gloves, and it's going to make a big difference. You know, if you want to be pushing a manual wheelchair and you're high level, I would say get a pair of gloves sooner than later, or find like a nice pair of push rims that would work well. Don't stress your shoulders out or other parts of your body more than you need to. You know, figure this out early on and, you know, make it easy for you. But a lot of these things can be used for a number of different independent, you know, solutions for yourself. So anyway, that's all I have. Like I said, I'm going to put the links to these products below in the description. I'll also put them on my website under the resource section. That's www.abilities.com. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to the Abilities channel. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We also have a Facebook page. All this can be found on my website, all the links. But I thank you for joining me today. And if you have any questions, just leave them below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And if you have any tips or tricks that you want to tell me, by all means, leave it below because I would love to hear it. I think we can all learn from each other. And that's all I have. So stay tuned. I'm going to try to post more videos. It's been a little while, but I'm going to get back into it. So thank you for joining me. Have a great day and keep working hard on your independence.